Hi guys, my name is Emma, and I want to confess. I stole money from my stepfather and lied about it. It turned out that I did a good thing, but still, shh. Let me start from the beginning. My parents divorced recently. Actually, I don't know why they decided to do that. I thought that maybe they were too young and passionate when they got married, but now it seems like their feelings are gone. Either way, they broke up and divorced. They split the estate and shared custody of me, and now I'm living half of the week with my mum and half of the week with my dad. It's really too bad, but I'm grown up enough to understand my parents and overcome their splitting up. My mother started to date another guy, and every day she was glowing with happiness, but my father was sad. I think he was still overcoming their breakup. Soon, my mother's relationship turned into something bigger, and we moved into her new husband's house. Oh, that house is unbelievable. It's huge and gorgeous. It had a fountain and a rose garden in the backyard. It was more of a castle than a house. I was so happy with my new home. It was a completely new level of life. I could swim in the pool, or sit in the beautiful garden, or invite my friends over for a slumber party. But I was not allowed to invite my friends over. Actually, I was not allowed to do a lot of things in that house, like listen to music loudly, hang posters on walls, or even go into certain rooms. Maybe my stepfather was a good guy, but he wanted a relationship with my mum, not with me. So in that big castle, I didn't feel like I was at home. But in my dad's house, everything was even worse. Because of his depression, he lost his job and had to sell like half of the stuff from our house just to live, so it was almost empty. I've been torn between these two places. I basically didn't want to live in either of them. Besides, I felt sorry for my dad. He was really sad all the time, and I wanted to help him. My mum was happy in her new relationship, and I decided that my dad just needed a new girlfriend. But he said that he can't go on dates now because he doesn't have the money to take care of women like that. But money is not important, and I was going to prove that. I created a profile for my dad on a dating app and started looking for a potential girlfriend for him. Soon I found a perfect candidate. She was the same age as my dad. She's beautiful and also divorced. It was a perfect match. I started to chat with her, and really soon I asked her out. The date was set. We were going to meet in the park this evening. There was not much time to prepare. I snuck out to the garden in the backyard, cut the 5 most beautiful roses, and went to my dad's house. I knocked on the door for a long time. He finally opened it. I shouted, "There's no time to explain, Dad. You have a date tonight." He was shocked. Dad wasn't ready for a date at all. He had a 5-day-old beard and he looked tired. We began to prepare in a rush. While he was shaving, I told him about the woman that I met, what she does for a living, which movies she likes, and other kinds of stuff. In an hour, he was ready to face his potential girlfriend. I was proud of all the work I did. My father deserves to be happy, after all. I was interested how their date went, and the next morning I opened the dating app. I was really surprised when I saw 20 unread messages from her. Oh, she was just mad. It turned out that my father had just disappeared in the middle of the date, and she wanted some answers. And I wanted them too. When I went to his house, I found him really sad. "What's going on, Dad? Why did you leave her?" He said when he saw the woman, he immediately realised that he still misses my mum, and he's not ready to date other people. That's sad, but what can I do? From that moment on, he became really unhappy. Dad spent all day long just lying on the couch and staring into space. He got up only to chat with my mum when she drove me to his house, and I had no idea how to help him. I was ready to call a psychotherapist, but after a couple of weeks, something changed. When I went to visit my dad, I found him walking around the house energetically, and he looked like he was thinking of a plan. When I asked what had happened, Dad told me that tonight he had a date, but he didn't know how to make it go well because he doesn't have any money at all. I haven't seen my dad this excited for a long time, so I decided to help him, at any cost. I returned to my stepfather's house, snuck into his office and stole some money from his desk. It was nothing for him, but for my dad, it was a chance to build a new relationship. I knew that Dad wouldn't take money from me, so I had to set up the date on my own. I went to a restaurant and organised a romantic dinner for two, and with the rest of the money I bought a decent jacket for my father. I told my dad that my friend worked at the restaurant, and she helped me with the dinner, and that I borrowed the jacket from my best friend's dad. Everything was ready. But it was suspicious that my father refused to tell me anything about the woman that he'd met. To satisfy my curiosity, I followed him to the restaurant. And imagine my surprise when I saw her. It was my mother that was on the date with my dad. Wow, I didn't expect that. I went home thinking about what the heck was going on, and as soon as I entered my house, my stepfather began to shout at me. He figured out that I stole the money from his desk, and he wanted an explanation. He yelled at me so loud I immediately began to cry. I told him that I took the money for my father. I shouldn't have said that because it pissed him off even more. Thank God he didn't find out about the roses. Mum came home late, and he began to yell at her too. He was so angry. He shouted, "She stole my money for your ex! Do you think I'm going to just leave it at that?" Mum sent me to my room, and they began to fight. A couple of minutes later, she came to me and said, "Get your stuff, we're leaving." While we were driving, I was very ashamed of what I'd done. I felt like I messed up everything and ruined my mother's relationship. But when we stopped and I looked around, I realised that everything was fine because we had come to my dad's house. Yeah, my parents are back together again, and their love is stronger than ever. My mum realised money is not important, but it is important to be with someone who loves you and would never hurt you and your loved ones. What lesson did I learn? It's hard to say. I know what I did was wrong, but I did it for my father, and I love him very much. Is there anything you wouldn't do for your loved ones? That's what I thought. Did I do the right thing? Tell me in the comments below so I don't feel guilty anymore, and don't forget to show this video to your friends.